Use the quadratic formula to solve x squared minus 2x minus 4 equals 0. We know that the quadratic formula is given by x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, the first thing that we need to do is to figure out what the values of a, b, and c are. Remember that a is the coefficient on x squared. In this case, that's going to be 1. b is the coefficient on the x term. In this case, that's negative 2. And c is the constant term. In this case, that is negative 4. Never forget to include the negative sign when one of these coefficients is a negative number, or we'll end up with the wrong answer. Now let's go and plug these quantities in. We start off with the opposite of b. Now b is negative 2. The opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. Then we have plus or minus the square root of, first of all, we have b squared. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. So we're going to start off with 4, and then minus 4 times a, which in this case is 1, times c, which in this case is negative 4, all over 2 times a, which in this case is 1. In general, when I'm solving problems with the quadratic formula, I will take the b and square it right away. In this case, b squared was 4. And always this will be positive. We cannot square a number and end up with a negative. So this is always going to be positive. But then I don't evaluate the negative 4ac all at once. I just write negative 4 times a times c. Because if I evaluate all this in my head, I'm more likely to make a mistake. So I usually just write in the values of a and c and then multiply them out in the next step, which we're going to do right now. So we've got 2 plus or minus the square root of 4. And then in the second term, it's going to end up being positive because we're subtracting something with a negative factor. So those negatives will cancel and turn into a plus. And 4 times 1 times 4 is 16. So we're going to have 4 plus 16 underneath that radical. In the denominator, 2 times 1 is 2. Now let's keep evaluating under that radical. 4 plus 16 is 20, so that's going to become a root 20. And 20 isn't a perfect square, but we can simplify it by factoring it so that the first factor is a perfect square. In this case, 20 is 4 times 5. And we can evaluate the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So this will become 2 plus or minus 2 root 5 all over 2. I'm going to rewrite this up here. 2 plus or minus 2 root 5 over 2. Now at this point, we can split up those two terms so that this is two fractions. We've got 2 over 2 plus or minus 2 root 5 over 2. And the reason we want to split it up is so that we can simplify each of the fractions on their own. In this case, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and then plus or minus 2 root 5 divided by 2 is just root 5. The 2's cancel. And so for this problem, our solution is x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 5. And that's our final answer.